Tonight, we're going to present a special show. Well, every week's special. Tonight's another one of those opportunities to help better educate and inform people about what we call mediation and what it can be and can be different from. So it's called improvisational mediation. Yes, and. And our visitors tonight who will be playing roles are Joni Cass, John Adam, and Jordan O'Connor, the three J's. And they're all here in the studio in Toronto. So we're doing a performance of mediation on the radio. It is being done as to the concept of improvisation, which uses a template of yes and, with the purpose of building upon what is presented at the moment. When people are in a state of negative conflict, the general sense is to say something somewhat positive or neutral about the other person involved and then inject the word but. Injecting but has a tendency of minimizing and marginalizing what was first said, and then what is said afterward is basically a lot of negativity. So the intention tonight is to present a more fluid, flexible, and mostly adaptable way of assisting and supporting individuals to self-define and self-determine their own pathway to attain the outcomes as they identify. Mediation can and does take many forms in terms of process, practice, and purpose. Today, we are presenting one of those forms that has been modified, which is mentioned, uses improvisation and its adaptable nature as the foundational basis of the process for the purposes of doing it within the timing and setting of the radio program. Periodically, I will stop the process and discuss amongst the participants what is happening. This radio show will be video recorded and later edited to upload for public access. So the mediator tonight is Joni, and the two role players are John and Jordan.
So thank you for coming in tonight, gentlemen. My name's Joni, and I'm your mediator. I've been brought in by the company to help you try and find a way through this conflict that you seem to have found yourself in the workplace. Have either one of you ever been in a mediation before?
I have.
You have? Okay.
I haven't.
And you haven't.
No.
Okay. Let's first of all see, how do you like to be addressed? We usually go pretty casual by first names.
Jordan is good for me.
Jordan's good for you?
Yeah, John's good for me.
And John's good for you. Okay, so we're the three J's.
Yep.
So you have been in a mediation before,
Yes.
Jordan? So you have a sense of what it's all about.
Mhm.
Okay. And John, you haven't?
I have not.
Okay. So how about before we start kind of getting into it, I'll just give you a sense of how I do this process and what you can expect and what it kind of looks like for you. Okay?
Great.
Okay.
First of all, this is a voluntary process. So neither of you has been coerced into participating or anything, right? You're both here voluntarily. You come here because you want to work things out.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
We have this really important project that needs to get done. So
And it's getting in the way, right?
it really is getting in the way.
Yeah. So I first of all, I just want to say how very happy I am that you've both decided to come voluntarily to try and work things out instead of letting things just drag on the way they are, because that really shows a willingness to cooperate and to really kind of put yourselves on the line in a way. And that takes a lot of courage, and it shows that you're devoted to making things work out in the way they should so that you can get the job done, right? And that you can both feel happier and more comfortable in your work, right? So I just want to say that if at any point either of you feels like this isn't going well, or it's not really what you want to be doing, or that it's not, working out for you, there's nothing that says that you have to continue. But what I would ask is that you would talk to me first. Just kind of so take me aside and just let me know what the problem is and give me an opportunity to change things up so that maybe it can work for you.
All right.
Okay? Because I'm kind of one of the participants too. And that brings me to the next point, which is my role. So I'm not here to decide who's right or who's wrong or make any decisions about how you're going to move forward or even suggest any thing about how you should move forward. I'm here to provide an environment where the two of you can talk to each other in a way that's going to help you understand each other better and figure out together new ways of moving forward that are going to work better for you. Okay, so you're looking puzzled. Do you have a question about that?
I thought that this was supposed to be a resolution. Like, that's what I was told, that we'll go here, we'll figure everything out. That's what my boss told me.
Yeah, you're the resolvers.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I have been educated and have experience in a process that makes it more likely that you'll be able to see things from each other's point of view. So I'm the keeper of the process in a way. Clearly the way you've been communicating with each other has not been working out so far. So I'm here to bring a different way of communicating with each other so that you can work together on making things better.
Okay.
Okay, does that answer your question?
So it's your process and our outcome?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
The other important thing is confidentiality. What happens in this room should stay in this room. Now, I don't think any of us is naive enough to believe that just because someone promises that it's going to be confidential, it's going to always be confidential. And I like to kind of just make it about kind of Scout's honor, that there's a respect for the process, that you come in here willingly to try and make things better. And in order to do that, you're going to have to be able to speak freely. And in order to speak freely, you have to be able to feel like it's not going to go somewhere else.
Okay.
Right?
So what happens if I reveal something in here and then this doesn't work out?
Mm-hmm.
Can it be used against me some way,
No.
somehow in court?
No. And I'm glad you brought that up, because as a mediator, I cannot be compelled to testify in any kind of court proceedings or, even my notes, I shred them at the end of the session. Okay? This is a conversation we're having.
Okay.
This is like almost the anti-court. It's a conversation we're having. I'm leading you and guiding you through a conversation with each other that's different from the conversation you've been having so far.
Okay. And you're not sharing anything with our
No.
HR team or executives?
No.
Okay.
So, and that's one of the reasons that they brought in someone from the outside and not from the HR team. HR people are often trained in dispute resolution. But, and I think wisely they felt that this was something that should be, have a neutral person from the outside who's not even going to be perceived as being on anybody's side.
Yeah.
And that's what's really important about this, is that I'm not on one side or the other. I'm on the side of helping you move through this conflict and make it better. That's my interest in this. And of course, like any human being, I'm going to have biases and things, but I'm going to do my best not to let that interfere with your process. Okay? Because this is really about the two of you working this out together with my help.
Okay, so I'm cutting in here. This is one of these coaching moments because we're just before a break and I want to have a little time. What are you trying to do in starting off this process, Joni?
Well, I'm trying to let them know just what to expect, what our different roles are. I want to correct any misconceptions they might have coming in, which I've been doing, I think,
Absolutely.
right? I want to set the tone of a very informal kind of back and forth. It's not me, you say, now you talk, yeah, and just letting them know the parameters.
So you're creating a framework.
Yeah.
That you're looking, the two of them, to then take ownership of how they're going to express their own points of view, and then with your assistance and support through the event of this session, they're going to come to some point of hopeful mutual
Yes.
resolution where they're both on the same page.
Yes, and I'm trying to set that tone of optimism and giving my optimism to them.
So as a participant in this mediation, as a disputant, I feel that you are also creating a safe space.
Yeah.
Right? You're doing a good job at reading my body language, reading my face even, and sort of calling me out like, hey, I notice you look a bit puzzled, you look like you have a question, and making sure that you answer all of that before we get into the meat. Right?
And John, how do you feel from her doing that?
I think I feel a bit more comfortable opening up because like any process, let's say in the role, I'm someone who's never taken part in mediation before. So I'm gonna have hesitations.
Sure.
Right, and being able to identify maybe areas where I might have some challenges or hesitations, you're addressing them so that you minimize any sort of disruptions later on in the process.
And she's creating, obviously, a sense of the format, if you want to call it,
Yep.
and a sense of trust
Mm-hmm.
within her for you, so that you can trust the process. Because you're obviously here with Jordan, who has a contrary view of circumstances that's brought you to this process. And that's to be explored. Especially moving on, we're going to take a break. And so your next step, Joni, will be to, after we come back, is to get into perspective sharing.
Yes.